But no, Beth, your goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marbles. Kayla versus Allison and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory. Hello everybody and welcome back to the CVRcade World Cup for the second stream here on the Mixer page of the day. Earlier today we had Zone E won by none other than Moti Pikelny of Team Cognition. He's back for more here in Zone KNL and we'll see just how the racing shapes up. We're on the last day, the last two races of the open sessions in the CVRcade World Cup, and soon it's about to get very serious with their bracketed sessions just around the corner. The winner of the Elite Omnium Series taking home $3,000. It's quite a lot of cash just for the bracketed session. And then after that, it's time for the grand finale. 5 races on display today. We start with Echelon once more, the no-skill event of the day. Moving on to Country Rally, Hypnotic Highway, Dust Bowl Crit, and we finish off on Fantastic Alien Sea. Now, one of the main protagonists, or supposed to be, of Zone E, because that is his preferred zone earlier today. Timothy, what just happened? Where were you this morning?
I was watching the stream, getting some tactics in for this race. Let's put it like that. Yeah, all planned.
Well, I have heard other stories, but we'll leave those rest for another day. You're up against the winner of Zone E. Earlier today, he raced the same 5 races. His team won all 5 races. Does that strike fear into Team Cycling Hub?
Nah, they're tired now. We good. Nah, for real. It's gonna be some great racing. Loads of people online. Yeah, and 5 races, 5 shorter races. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm really excited about it. I think there's only one person with preferred zone this time around. I think it's only Jeff, so we'll see.
You're missing out on Ben Shuilong, who's also in here.
Oh,
Speaking of which, Timothy, don't ever miss out on the Ben. Ben is in the broadcast as well and getting ready to stream. Ben, what's it like to be neglected by someone like Timothy Tamont?
It's devastating. I'm just going to have to try and drop the hammer and make him pay.
Oh, that is the fighting talks of Team CCC. It's been good to see the team getting really good, Ben, heading into the bracketed sessions. What's the mood like in the team camp?
Good. I mean, I don't know what else to say, really. I think it's really come together in the last couple of weeks. We've all had Omnium victories, and you know, we had a great week in week 3. So I think it just goes to show that, you know, we can win and we can do well. So yeah, long may it continue.
I like the very different approaches from Team Cycling to Team CCC. Thank you, Ben. In terms of how you work towards winning and how winning affects you as a team and morale. Because you saw Timothy go, Ben, who's Ben? And then you've got Ben going, yeah, we win. It's kind of fun. We're all singing Kumbaya. But here you can see the rest of the protagonists in the broadcast today. Lewis is in the broadcast. Last time he was in, he was the man of the hour from his attack on Temple Run, I think it was. Frank Garcia and Jenner Garcia are into the broadcast. Moti Pikelny, the man to beat, as he and his Team Cognition teammates made the clean sweep this morning in Zone E, and we'll see if that will once more be the case here in Zone K. But he's going up against stronger competition, especially we look towards Tim Fulford of Team Cycling Hub. What will he be bringing to the table as we see Jennifer Garcia, Team CVR, showing up in strengths here? They've got Frank Garcia, they've got Jennifer, they've got Kayla out on course, and I believe they've also got Rick Woods. As you can see, Tim Fulford, one of the stronger riders, currently leading the open sessions of the CVRcade World Cup. And with only 2 races left, Frank Garcia has the potential to take over that top spot, but he's going to need some serious points. 5 races in total today. And we start with the only no skill of the day. Frank Garcia using comeback kit earlier on. So is Timothy, but Timothy has got Lewis in between. So Timothy with a lot of, panache, a lot of confidence. He is forced to use his power up very early on. As he is now getting back into 1,000 equalized watts. But Frank had the advantage of having one rider further up the road, where now Timothy catches Lewis and he has to go right on through the Californian Bear. Will he be able to do so, or will they team up? Not such a strong start from the 2 riders. And Homer Thompson back in 11th place. He raced earlier today. He was out in full support of his teammate Thomas Tibling. So Homer Thompson up there of the award of teammate of the day. But going back to the front group, there were a few that didn't rest on their laurel. There were a few that didn't get caught sleeping out of the gate. They still got their power up in comeback kit. Tim Fulford is in the front. Ben Shuilong is in the front. Kayla Laguna, Moti Pikelny, Rick Woods, Frank Garcia, and Jennifer Garcia. So Team CVR have got the numbers advantage. And what we've seen before in races like this is when you've got the numbers, you can use riders as satellite riders. But that's kind of tough in a no-skill event due to the size of the blob. As you see, Uncrashable, Quantum Shift, and Corner Caper makes it so that you never have to worry about sliding out or crashing or overlapping wheels or others like of that. And therefore, you go a lot quicker. As Ben Shuilong, he is retired the the awesome Halloween outfit for now, as Lewis back in the chasing group uses his comeback kit. That is the end of Timothy's and Homer's chances most likely. But Lewis, this is what he does. He gets in the hurt locker and he goes to work, as you now see him make his way back up to the front. It's only 2 laps of echelon. Frank Garcia on the screen, and the eyes will be on him. Last 2 zones of the open sessions in the CVRcade World Cup, the inaugural CVRcade World Cup. Every race is breaking new territory. Every race is making history. And speaking of which, Lewis has got his power up run out. Comeback kit is gone now. So he is going to have to work on pure strength. And how much of this is worth it? It's a 1 scoring multiplier event. And you've got to ask yourself, is it worth it to dig this deep? But when you're in it for the glory, when you're in it for the workout, that's when you see riders get in, stick their head down, and get stuck with it, as we see Lewis on the screen. Meanwhile, on the front, it is Jennifer Garcia who is laying down the hurt. So taking up the front spot, meaning that she's not getting any draft, but she's offering it to the rest of the riders in this chasing pack. So who is going to be the chosen rider for Team CVR? Who will be the road captain? Most likely it will be Frank, but we've recently seen Kayla and Rick really come to their own as well. Tim Fulford, calm and composed. He's only at 133 equalized heart rate, so he's having a picnic. He's got the bread out, glass of red wine. He's enjoying it as the music is running in the background. 700 meters to go. This is roughly where we saw Daniel LeBlanc of Team Cognition initiate his attack. The Tempest, Niels Heldens, wasn't quite strong enough to latch back on, but who will it be? Will they wait? Team CCC's Ben Shuilong is ready to go. He's in 3rd position, and he is just staring at the screen, watching the kilometers, the meters tick down. Mochi Bikelny ramping it up. Is he going to test anyone's legs at this point? 200 meters to go. This is a game of chicken. This is hot potato. And there it goes. Mochi Bikelny throws it, and it's Moti, it's Kayla, it's Jenna Garcia throwing down everything she's got. On the front, it's going to be a photoalized finish. And I think Rick Woods takes the win. That was so close. we're gonna need a photo line finish. We need a photo finish instant replay as they cross the line. Lewis did sit up and rest as he goes. But that is so close to call. It looked like it was going to be Jenna Garcia for so long until the very end. Rick has done this before, and he does it again. Look on the left. You see Moti just waiting. The meters tick down. 150, 125, and bam, there he goes. Everything he's got from like 5th position as he just tries to go through the pack. You can see Jennifer absolutely hunched over, trying to squeeze out every single wattage. And it just comes down to the game of millimeters. On the line, Rick Woods does take the victory, and Ben Shuey along in 2nd place. Let's go talk to Ben for the time being. Congratulations, Ben. 2nd place behind Rick. I mean, talk me through that sprint. 150 meters to go. No one had went. What did you think?
That was really strange. You know, like I've never seen anyone, any group, take it so easy on the last K. It's like everyone was trying to drop back as much as possible, get maximum draft. That's what I'm thinking, really. But everyone was slowing down. I tried the same. I thought maybe drop back, use the power up. But everyone just dropped back. So it's clear it's just going to have to be one of those last-minute sprints and hope for the best, and it worked out. So, yeah.
Now, Country Rally is next. It's wind at your back. It's 2 laps. I mean, have you brought your hurricane protection gear?
This was my nemesis, this track, honestly. I've yet to do it properly and not crash, you know, and do a good race on this track. So we'll see. 2 laps is going to be seriously intense. With the power up and the hefty wind, I think it's going to be pretty messy. So we'll see.
Well, good luck, Ben. We can see the usual CCC kit is in the wash. That happens when you race a lot. Jenna Garcia ended up 3rd in the last race, not for the lack of trying. Jennifer, what was that sprint like? Because that's one of the first time we've seen you head down and just give everything in a sprint.
Yeah, that was intense. I thought I had it, and I was just going really, really hard. I don't know how they came up behind me, but they did. That was such a short sprint, which I'm also not used to. I was thinking about going a little bit sooner, but the pack was too heavy, so I waited, and that might have been what killed me, but that was crazy.
What about Country Rally now? I think this is one of your first time racing this as well, and you've got wind at your back. How confident do you feel going into this one?
Yeah, I think I've only raced this like once or twice. I like it because it's a little bit technical, but not so technical that you have to be like obsessing over it. So I'm excited, hoping some other people other than me will be crashing. That might help, but we'll see.
Last question. Team CVR's got numbers today. Who will be the dedicated captain to race for?
We hadn't really decided, but I think it'll just be whoever ends up in these first few races scoring the most points. But usually, I mean, Kayla's really strong too, and my dad always has good legs. So we'll see. We'll see who it'll end up being. Not sure yet.
We'll see. I'm sure that Team CVR has a plan that they're just saving for the last minute. Thank you, Jennifer. As we get ready for Country Rally. This is a course that's been widely regarded for many of the users on the platform to be one of the most engaging courses, as you've got to watch out for the hay bales, the barn door, the locks at the end, and with wind at your back, 20 kilometers an hour. I mean, you're going to be going so quickly, and what we saw in Zone E earlier today was that some corners has a relatively low corner speed, which means a high possibility of crashing. So when you come flying into a corner and you change lane, you will actually end up stacking your bicycle. And that's what you've got to be prepared for here as we get underway. Country Rally. Tim Fulford out of the gate, sprinting everything he's got. Moti Kilney on the right. Ben Shuilong on the wheel. Rick Woods and Jennifer Garcia there as well. Timothy Termont, not the best at races on Echelon. It does have a low scoring multiplier, so not to worry too early, but he's a racer that races on confidence, on, feeling like he's rocking as Ben uses his power-up. Jennifer goes down, Kayla goes down, Lewis goes down, Rick goes down, and that's what they call a strike in the business. Somebody mark that one up, X on the scoreboard, and absolutely everybody going down. Ben now using his uncrashable to go through the hay bales, not having to worry about it. That was a lot to take in as Ben pushes it to the limit, but he doesn't take a tumble. Timothy Tamont, Tim Fulford, both without having to use their power-ups, are now finding them first and second. Motipi Kelney did win earlier today, and now he's got uncrashable. He's got inertia, and he goes right on through. And since it's only 2 laps, and he risked it for a biscuit, and that was not chocolate chip. That was raisins, that one. And he can try to make it back up, but with a lack of power-ups, it may be too little too late. Frank Garcia down in 4th. Jeff Rooney in 3rd. They are now going to make up the gap, but 2 laps doesn't allow much room for mistakes. You can make it back up, but you've got to be on it. Frank has got his power-ups. Tim has got his power. Oh, as Frank changes lanes just a second too early, thinking he's through, but it not being the case. Now, Ben Shuilong on the wheel, trying to chase down. Frank crashes again. So when it rains, it pours in the Team CVRcade camp. He crashes once in the corner, and then second time on the railing there's Tim, Timothy, and Jeff have all used their power-ups, and Timothy, uncrashable in inertia at 62. He's going to see, does it run out before the barn door? Can he land though? Can he flare? Can he flail the landing? And it does look like he butters the bread as he just slows down and recovers and makes it a smooth landing. Because what happens is when you accelerate through the corner and you go too quickly, we've all been there. Tim needs to let Timothy go through. And it looked like there for a second, there was some inner team play there to go competitive towards each other. And Timothy and Tim, they'll both want to win this one, regardless of being on the same team. They both know what's on the line, and there are no gifts in cycling, especially not as Tim falls down. Timothy falls down. They both make the exact same mistake, and Ben Shuilong has got an opportunity. Despite the early crash, 400 meters to go. Timothy Tamont sprints on the inside here. 1,000 equalized watts. It's a 3-horse game with Jeff Rooney, Moti further down, Kayla, Jennifer, everyone crashing once more. 200 meters to go. Tim Fulford on the left, Ben on the right. He is coming hot into that corner. 1 left-hand turn, 1 right-hander, and that's going to be it here. Here we go. Here's the sprint finish. Tim has got the inside lane, and he sprints on through, and he will take the win in front of Ben Shuilong, Timothy Tamont 3rd, Jeff Rooney will be 4th, Moti B. Kelney will be 5th, but Timothy Tamont will be thinking what could have been, as both Cycling Hub members synchronized crashing. That could be a new discipline here in CVRcade racing. Moti 4th, Homer Thompson saving his uncrashable, Frank Garcia surrounded by Team CVRcade members. Usually one of the stables to perform well here on Country Rally. It wasn't meant to be. 2 laps, very short, very intense, as he will cross in 4th, Jennifer down in 6th, Lewis down in 7th, as we watch the next races cross over the line. But here we've got the instant replay. What a finale. That was so back and forth. There was even a point where you think, are the 2 Cycling Hub riders racing together or each to their own? That was really fascinating to watch. But here comes Ben, maybe overbraking a tiny bit here, but it's difficult. You've got to just cover the speed. Do I go for the win? Do I go for second place? Do I guarantee it? Those are the decisions they make on the fly. And in the end, Tim Fulford taking the win at maximum points. But that only puts him 1 spot ahead of Ben Shuilong. Congratulations, Tim. But there was a moment there where you and Timothy both stack it at the same moment. What happened in the Cycling Hub camp?
I've no idea what happened to Timothy. I just tried to sort of stay out of his way because I realised coming out of one corner I was in his way. I just fat-fingered the inside line. So as I was coming down to brake, I pressed down and right. And if you're going too fast for the lane inside, you're going to crash. And that's exactly what I did.
Well, it looked like you both did it, whether it was fat fingers or not. But there was also a moment where you had the opportunity to take out Timothy on one of the rails. Is there ever a moment where you're half tempted to take out a teammate like that?
it's always nice to have the idea to take someone out, but when he's kind of wearing your jersey, you're probably best not to do that. So, yeah, just keep it friendly, get out of it, and see if we can get one too.
Hypnotic Highways coming up. Well done to Tim for taking the win. Ben Shuilong is still in here in the broadcast. Ben, despite the early crashing and the early power-ups, you managed to get yourself back up into second place. What was the trick on Country Rally to overcome the early crash?
Well, the first trick was using the right power-up at the beginning, so I used the wrong one. So instead of having Uncrashable and flying around the corner, I just crashed. And had wasted both my power-ups basically in the space of 30 seconds. But I was super careful on the rest of the course, and so I managed not to crash. And I just really punched it on the straight. And yeah, so despite the crash, I'm super pleased. Yeah, good result in the end. So yeah.
I can see the smile on your face, Ben. Congratulations. I know we don't have that much time, so I just want to hear from Timothy as well, because Timothy, looked like you had 1-2 in the bag. You have to sacrifice that second place for third. What happened to you? Was that a fat finger too?
No, I can't say I was following Tim because he actually slowed down enough, but he just fat fingered the inside button. But yeah, that split second of missing the speed, and yeah, you go down. And then I tried to sprint back, but Ben had too much speed. I couldn't get back. So yeah, but third is good.
Hypnotic
we're still in
Highway,
this.
you've got Tim in there with you too. How are you gonna attack this one?
No comment.
You can tell it's getting to the point at the end now, as every team is like, nah, I won't tell you exactly what's happening. It's okay,
Exactly.
Timothy. You got 20 seconds.
Cheers.
I'll let you get back. There's no linen on the face today. There's no Halloween antics. We'll see if his vision will be 2020 in this one. Moti on the screen. He's sitting fourth overall, and he won this one earlier today, and we'll see how it pans out here as we get underway in 4 seconds for the long race of the day on Hypnotic Highway. Here we go. You've got 1 Quantum Shift, 1 Racer's Edge. Off to an early start. Frank Garcia, as always, the patented attack. You get these power-ups on these longer races. You want to allow your team to play defensive, as you heard Matti P. Kelly quoted earlier, as both Jenna Garcia and Frank Garcia are trying to break away. Frank managed to get a little bit of a gap, but looks like Jenna just sitting up. But 700 equalized watts, everyone here at this moment are aware. At the beginning of all low-skill events, which this is one of, the biggest momentum difference is from the gate to when the group gets rolling. So you see Lewis on the screen now, racing unaffiliated. One of the few riders still a free agent on the chopping block. As you can see, he now moves on up, passes Frank Garcia on the inside. Jenna Garcia taking up the pacing on the front with Ben Shuilong just trying to hatch onto the wheel. But this is what Jennifer does well. In these longer races, she finds herself attacking off the front and applying the pressure. It's a very explosive attack, and I think she was like shot out of a cannon, I think I said, when she first raced on Rocky Mountain. And we're seeing the same thing happen now. But what that allows, it allows Frank Garcia to sit back and relax on this group. He's got 1 teammate up the road, so he does not need to do any of the chasing here in the secondary group. With Moti P. Kelly now using his Quantum Shift and 900 equalized watts, he realizes that that is the breakaway. That break is gonna stick. I need to bridge across, and that is what he does. So Racer's Edge, Quantum Shift, that's gone from Moti. What will he do now? 192 equalized heart rate. Halfway through the racing of the day here in race 3 out of 5. And you also start to wonder, how are the legs feeling for the Team Cognition team leader? To second Omnium on the day out of 3. And I mean, suddenly the lactic acid starts building up as Tim Fulford on screen. You can see him stand up, apply the pressure to the rest. Who will be there to go with him? Rick Woods is now trying to bridge across. He uses Racer's Edge and he leaves the chasing group further down here. So you can see the green CVRcade colors. He uses Quantum Shift as well. maybe hoping that it's going to allow him to go a bit quicker. But we'll see if he can now bridge across. Tim, Moti, Jennifer, Lewis, and then Ben Shuilong. We've got a breakaway here as we reach the first real top of one of the inclines on Hypnotic Highway, but there is another one coming, and it's close between the front three with Tim just off the back. Ben Shuilong also sitting in. This is turning into be a fantastic race of real physics being displayed as now Lewis goes on to the attack. The unaffiliated rider, will he sneak under the radar? He's not member of one of the big trading teams. He is racing on his own with his own intentions. Will everyone just look and think, you know what? He's not CVR. He's not Cycling Hub. Can we let him go? Those are the questions being asked all around right now as Lewis, I mean, if you've seen his previous race, he races with so much heart. But Jennifer Garcia still taken to the front. Do bear in mind that she's not racing with a heart rate monitor. So when you have the finalized result after this, I do think that if you don't race, I think the rules state that if you don't race with a heart rate strap, you'll find yourself at the bottom of the standings. And that is to do with validifying the efforts putting out in real time. As you can see on the left, the physical effort from Moti Kelney, referencing correlation, direct proportion to the right, the gameplay in which his avatar of Team Cognition attacks over the front. Right now, they're on the steepest gradients. If you go to a first-person view, you'll see 7% here as they crest to the top on the front. 2-second gap. Moti is going. This has a scoring multiplier of 1.5. It's not the highest, but with 5 events, all in similar scoring, every single point ends up mattering. As you can see, Moti off the front, Lewis in second place. Moti needing to rest up for a second as he was at 194. Further back down, Ben Shuilong is a casualty of the early attacks. He is barely hanging on here to Rig Woods as we're on the descent. He is a climber in real life, but thanks to physical equalization, all that doesn't really make a difference here in CVRcade. You got to take what you know and change it because it's physical esports, physical equalization. Someone like Frank Garcia, who is in his days known to be a fantastic sprinter on CVRcade, and especially in the CVRcade World Cup, you cannot allow him to get up the road because he knows his body so well that he's a time trialist on CVRcade. But 4-man group on the front, Ben Shuilong and Rig Woods are clawing their way back. Rig Woods winning the initial race, not having the best of races on Country Rally, but this is what Rig Woods does well. If you've got to get stuck in, if you got to use the power of your legs to drive your avatar forward and not having to worry too much about the tactical elements or the strategic decisions, that's where Rick just has so much heart and so much power. Lewis on the screen. The question is, how long before CCC reaches out? How long before Cognition reaches out? He is becoming more and more of a stable rider here in the broadcast as we see him on the right, just out of the draft, not getting that much. He's getting around 20%, but this group is off and running. Out the back, though, Timothy Tamont, it doesn't matter what time you set the alarm, but if you get caught snoozing regardless, you will be 10, 15 seconds off the back of the group, and he'll be looking to try and help Tim Fulford later on in the racing, as Tim is currently the provisionally the virtual leader in the Zone K Omnium. He's taken up to the front. And now when you look at the mini-map down below, that's kind of when you can predict when the next attack is going to be. We're currently on a straightaway. The gradient is flat. Now coming up, there's a hill. That hill, 2 to 3% gradient. It's not too steep. Then it flattens out again, but then there's a longer climb. That's where I think we'll see those that have their racer's edges and quantum shift use them. But Jenna Garcia on the front, as you can see now, 355 equalized wattage. I wonder if she's being a domestique, if she's being a teammate here for Rig Woods at this point, because she's taking up a lot of the wind on the front. just making sure that the pace is being held relatively high on the front, so Jeff Rooney, etc., can't get back. But MoTP Kelly says, you know what, Jesper? I don't care when you think the attacks are going to come. I decide when deliveries do, and that's about now. MoTP Kelly racing for team cognition, and he wants to get rid of Tim Fulford. But Tim is right on his heels, and so is Jennifer Garcia. Team CVRcade, she is ready to go. Tim Fulford, you can see he passes Moti. Will he try and counter punch over the top as Moti has used Quantum Shift? He's used Racer's Edge, and Tim will no doubt keep track of this. And now cat and mouse between the two of them. Tim does not want to give any drafting up, and that allows Jennifer to get back in. As you can see now on the front, everybody looking around, just getting comfortable. 2.3 kilometers to go now. The steep climb is still coming up. It's about 700, 800 meters away, I think. That's where I think somebody will just put the entire thing on black and hope that it plays out. Lewis moves on through. Ben Shuilong has gotten back on the group, but he's been hanging on. Prior to this race, he was 1 point behind Tim Fulford, and he's going to need to try and catch up with him now. This is his preferred zone, so he will get those bonus points, and he's going to try to move on through. Jennifer Garcia, though, where you can expect to see her on the front, dishing out the pain, keeping the elastic stretched out and at a high pace. Moti taking advantage of this and trying to get as much of a drafting percentage as possible out of it. But now the pace is coming down a tiny bit in this group. Everyone getting ready to go, because here is the climb. This is the gradient, 2, 3, 4% coming up now. This is where the resistance in the trainer can make the difference. Jennifer Garcia using her Racer's Edge. MoTP Kelly right there, but look, there goes Jenna. Everything she's got. Will anyone be able to get on this wheel? Lewis is trying. Tim is trying. Tim uses Quantum Shift, realizes the danger of the attack at hand. Quantum Shift, Racer's Edge, and look at the facial expression. Physical equalization, breaking down boundaries and barriers, as you can now see Tim Fulford onto the attack. Who will be the first one to move up? Lewis goes straight through Moti, and he's got 2 seconds up to Jenna Garcia. And look, he's moving left and right, giving Sadeo Ikiba a run for his money on the Ikiba shuffle. He's got nothing left. Is he going to hit the back of Jennifer? No, he goes right on through. Tim has a 4-second gap and a 191 equalized heart rate. He's going to get stuck in. He knows what he's got to do. He's made the gap. But Lewis is right there. The Californian bear escaping the wildfires and getting ready now. Has he got anything left? 600 meters. It's down to 2 seconds. Jennifer out the back. Ben fighting for it. It's going to be so close. It's a repeat of Zone E with Niels Heldens and MoTP Kelly. 400 meters. Look at Lewis's determination. He's back on the wheel. And now, with 300 meters to go, it's going to be a heads-up sprint, but you cannot rest. Tim versus Lewis. Tim looking a bit rattled. 200 meters to go. They turn right. Lewis goes left, and he launches the sprint. 1,500 equalized watts. Side by side, Tim goes, I am dead. And Lewis Soberanis will take his first ever victory, I believe, in CVRcade racing. What an effort. Ben Shuilong will beat Jennifer Garcia. He looks absolutely dead. So does Jennifer. Moti empty. What a race all around. Moti with the applause. Whew! I share the same feeling. I mean, I can only give the applause. Well done. Let's watch that sprint one more time, because Tim, for so long, looked like he had that one in the back, but Lewis not wanting to give up. He bridged a 4-second gap, and then it came to a head-to-head sprint. Tim, you can see putting everything in, but when he looks at Lewis, he goes, no, I'm done, mate. I've got nothing, and he sits back down. I cannot believe. Now, in testing, we tried to speak to Lewis, but he had some audio issues. We will try again just for sheer luck that it may be fixed. Lewis, if you can hear us right now, how was that? Oh, I don't think it worked. Anyway, We bow to thee, Lewis. That was incredible. We've got Tim on audio. Tim, you went so early. You had a kilometer. It was just you and daylight. We come into the sprint, and it's not often we see you just, I don't know if that was giving up or having nothing left.
A mixture of both, really. You've got to realise you got another 2 races. You look over, and Lewis is putting out like 1,600 equalised. I'm going slower than him, so I have to put out more to go faster. There's no point burning a match there, but I went early to try and break the group up because you don't want to risk that sprint and end up coming 6th. I'd rather just take one away and come 2nd. So calculated, really, but yeah, there was no touching loose there, so fair play to him, and just got to save your legs for 4 more punchy laps on 2 different courses. So
today is a day of abilities. How do you like racing with, we've had Uncrashable, Wind at Your Back, and now we're going into Racer's Edge. How do you like racing with this extra variable on the courses?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it, definitely. It's Country Rally, you've really got to completely rethink the whole course, which I was lucky enough able to do in just the warm-up. You're coming in like 5 or 6 k's an hour faster into most corners, so you've got to slam those brakes. With Razor's Edge here, again, you'll be accelerating faster. So just see how it goes, really.
Well, good luck. Ben is hot on your heels. 6 points behind, 5.5 points behind, actually, Ben. You're coming into the course you created. Do you have any like cheat sheets on Dust Bowl Crit? Do you have any like secret passages? You like you play some sort of game and you've got up, down, X, Y, Z? No?
No, there's no hidden cheats. Just doing my best to try and memorize the corners, you know, because they come up so fast. But if you've got a cue sheet, sometimes you just don't have time to look at it and you just lose it. So I'm getting there. I think I almost know them now. But I think, yeah, people still crash in the final corner quite a lot. So I'm hoping that, you know, that might happen to others, and I'll sail through for the win.
Now, in that last race, Ben, there was a few times where even I thought, right, okay, this is it. Ben is going to let go of the group, but you came back to 3rd, I think. How was that even possible?
Yeah, I was yo-yoing. I don't know. You know, it's definitely not the best way to conserve energy. But every time I was getting gapped, I was just digging deep. So hopefully I've still got something left for this race and the next. But yeah, coming into it in a good position. So we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens, because Dust Bowl Crit is coming up now, Ben. Best of luck as we get ready for more high-quality racing. Timothy Tamont, it hasn't been his racing so far, but I heard a bird say that he's racing both zones tonight, so we'll see if he can get in and make up for it here in Zone K and Zone L. But from the gun, MoTP Kelney, path of least resistance. Homer Thompson, path of least resistance. You get 1 path and 1 inertia, and they're opting to use it early on. It's 2 laps of Dust Bowl Crit. It is short, it is chaotic, and it is very strategic as Moti trying to force out an error there. As Lewis goes crashing very early on, that's when, you know, the fame starts getting to your head of winning a race. You're on the broadcast and suddenly you're on cloud 9, but then a touch of wheels and you go down. Same happened to Frank further down. But on the front, we still have 7 riders up there. Lewis coming into this race in 3rd. He could be making his way back up as he crashes again. Scratch that. Tim Fulford applying the pressure. Moti is there. Ben is there. But Lewis is learning the hard way. The Dust Bowl Crit with Racer's Edge. It's a totally different experience. Moti as Tim crashes. Tim just coming in too hot in the corner, smiles. It's not often you see Tim make mistakes. That's why he can laugh them off as he's now down in 6th. Timothy Tamont making up for past dues in 2nd place. On the wheel, Moti breaking it down. Moti's got a chance here of coming back, but now Ben is in the lead by 0.5 of a point here. Moti uses inertia, the power that locks you whatever speed you're doing for 10 seconds at the point you're using it. So does Ben at 52, but the difference right now, the storyline, Tim versus Ben versus Moti versus Rick, it is so close as Ben forces a mistake. Now, Ben hasn't just gotten super enclosed in the game. It is immersive, it is engaging, but I do think his web camera may have frozen out, so his 1,000 miles death stare is not just something to try and shake the opponent's thoughts and theories. No, he is ready to go as Tim makes another mistake. Oh, this is not something you see. Stick a pin in it. That could be tough now as he's further down. Ben Shuilong, 2.5 points. And now Timothy's job as the Team Cycling Hub leader at this point is to keep points away from Ben Shuilong. 2 laps of Fantastic Alien Sea is up after this. Moti, he's up there and he's coming back too. This is the second highest scoring multiplier of the evening at 1.5. You can see the scoring on the screen. And it's so back and forth. Ben now using Path of Least Resistance. So does Timothy. They're both trying to catch up now to Moti, who is out in the distance. But this is where Moti is best. Once he's got that gap, it's tough to close it back down. Lewis came into this race off a great high in the last race, 3rd on the overall leaderboard. But now he finds himself down in 6th place in the Omnium, heading into the last lap as Rick comes flying through behind Tim, and you could just see him as someone will need to call AAA to get him back out of the ditch. Tim Fulford, Team Cycling Hub, 2 mistakes already. Doesn't happen often as Ben Shuilong here. We go on board. He needs to keep Tim behind him. If he wants a chance to take the overall Omnium, he needs to catch the Timothy ahead of him, but keep the Timothy behind him at bay. No easy task. I don't think Tim has used his inertia yet, so we could even see Tim get back up into 2nd place. This is where he crashed last time around. Jeff Rooney is also doing a good performance with Rick Woods, but Tim looking visibly tired at this point, having to produce more power, and he completes the set. All 3 crashes are down. I think he's pushing it to the limit, knowing what he had to do. Now Ben's on the front, but Moti, 800 meters to go. We bow to the Cognition team leader. This is what it takes. The determination, the effort, the ability to go that bit deeper as Timothy Tamont with inertia. That's a late inertia. That may run through. It does not. He's got 6 seconds up to Moti, and this introduces Timothy back in, but then Timothy... Oh, he looks confused. He doesn't know what happened. And his number one concern, keeping Ben at bay. He lets Ben go right on through, and he says, "Thank you very much, sir. I will take that cap." That was a mix between cap and taxi. Cap fare was the word I was looking for. Moti, though, on the front. I mean, that is just fantastic racing. That's where racing it earlier this morning comes into play as Timothy Tamont again. Oh, getting to grips with the corners. You can do 90% to perfection, but if you don't execute on the last 10, that's where the difference gets made. Moti P. Kelly, Team Cognition, making amends for earlier races, back to his winning ways. He can be happy with that one. Congratulations, my friend. But Ben Shuilong versus Tim Fulford, 1 point between them as Tim crashes. That allows Jeff Rooney to go through and take more points away. So Jeff taking valuable points here from Tim. Unless Tim can get back up, he can't. Ben now, virtual leader. Moti in 3rd. This is shaping up to be a fantastic finale. Timothy versus Rick. 4 very big points here on the line. Timothy gets up to sprint. He shakes. There's more to go. Keep going. Oh, he shakes the head, but he doesn't have it for the end in that one. I mean, CVRcade Racing, my heart can't take this. This is so back and forth when even people like Tim Fulford makes 3 crashes. Mark the day. This must be a special occasion. It's not often you see that. Moti, not a single mistake. Flawless from start to finish. Path of least resistance used from the gun. Got out of the traffic, out in front. And here you can see, happy with that one. He has, put aside the pit crew for the time being. His young DS nowhere to be seen, busy trying to update CVRcade on his iPad. As Moti happy with that one. Moti, congratulations, my friend. How much does that victory mean to you after racing the first 3 races today?
That was great. I mean, the first couple of races, it shows how much tougher this is without teammates. So I was working much harder and finishing much further down in the standings. So it's a lesson in teamwork, but I was really happy with that course. That's Ben's course. It's just awesome. I probably have spent more time on that course than anybody. It's like my go-to place for workouts. The arrangement of climbs and the lengths of the sections for sprints are really perfect. So I know that course like the back of my hand, and it came in handy, especially with that permanently activated power up. So I'll take it.
I see what you did there. Look at the scoreboard. You're not out of it just yet, Moti. There are points on offer. You won Fantastic Alien Sea earlier today. Do you have anything to say to Ben and Tim, who are currently 2 spots up on you?
Watch out.
On that note, let's go to Tim Fulford, because what did we just witness, Tim? It's rare to see you crash once, maybe twice, but 3 times. What happened?
I think it was actually 4.
4?
Yeah, so basically my technique just didn't work very well with Razor's Edge as an ability, because I'm often still braking into a corner. So my first crash was because I was over braking speed going down into the first corner. Basically means you can hold as much speed through corners as possible, as long as you don't hit the outside braking speed. But there, Razor's Edge is obviously, you accelerate faster, you don't brake as quickly. It just all went wrong, so I just ended up having some fun. You got to have some fun sometimes, or I'll kill yourself.
Ben has this as his preferred zone, so he's technically got another 20 points on the Omnium, Tim. You're going to need all the help you can get from everybody else out there. Do you have any plea, any bargains going on, any deals being made with other riders at this point?
Nah, as you say, this isn't my preferred zone. Maximum I can get to 209, which won't up my score overall, so I'll just enjoy Fantastic Aliens here, I think.
We'll see how much enjoyment will be had on 2 laps of Alien Sea. Good luck, Tim, and everybody else racing. We'll let Ben and everybody else get ready. Jennifer Garcia getting ready as well for Fantastic Alien Sea. If you've enjoyed the racing and the stories being made, click that follow button down below. During Zone E earlier today, we had Channel 1 here. And Channel 1, we love you here from CVR World Cup. We love everybody who's clicked the little follow button down below. It just means that when these riders, they pour their sweat, tears, everything onto the line, well, they know that somebody else out there is sitting with their popcorn, sitting with their beverage of choice, and they get inspired and they get motivated. And that's kind of what the CVRcade World Cup is about. Anybody can do this, especially you, to jump on the bike and get ready to rock and roll. Jennifer Garcia had some good racing on Hypnotic Highway. She'll be looking to replicate it, but she's coming hot into this corner as she's being forced to brake. So despite the early acceleration, a bit too quick there. There is a weight lifted ability on this race, and that's why you saw Jennifer slide out a tiny bit. Ben Shuilong, though, he's in the driving seat, recently becoming one of the premier racers in the Omniums, in the zones, as Frank Garcia uses his 1 Razor's Edge. He's got to be careful about not sliding out, as he is just balancing between giving everything and just holding off. But here comes Frank Garcia to the front now. Only 5 kilometers remain here in Zone K as we get ready for Zone L after this. More intense, fun, action-packed, and immersive racing with more of these races as you've seen. Moti now, he slides in and he gets ready to rock and roll. He's only 3 points behind Tim at this point, so he can actually move on up and take more points home. And we'll see if he's going to try and capitalize on that. He just threads the needle between Rick Woods and Frank Garcia as that sandwich gets avoided. Lewis is up there as well now as Tim Fulford on the back of this group. Jennifer Garcia, Frank Garcia off the back. Vanessa Murahan, good to see her in amongst the racing as well. But you got to work Fantastic Alien Sea 2 ways. You got to accelerate on the uphill, but on the descent, you've got to push it. You've got to really, touch the you got to really just feather the brakes and be on the right side of every turn, because you will slide out. And then if you touch wheels, you sometimes go crashing down. As you can see, Lewis, winner of Hypnotic Highway. He had a big smile on his face. Now he's going to want to make that 2 race wins here. He wasn't able to make the Halloween stream on Thursday because he had to go trick-or-treating. He's definitely earned himself a candy bar or 2. We'll see if that's going to be Hershey's, Reese's, or M&M's, or whatever else the preferred choice is for our Californian bear. Tim now takes up the pacing on the front. He's got a 2-second gap as he now moves on up. He needs a 20-point gap on Ben Shuilong. He's got the opportunity. Ben in 4th, and so there is a chance, but he's going to rely as Moti uses Racer's Edge. He did the exact same thing earlier in Zone E, and it worked to perfection as he won that zone. Not only the race in Fantastic Alien Sea, but he also ended up winning the race on Fantastic Alien Sea on the zone as Ben in 4th. He's got 2 points to play with. Tim has got to be hoping that Lewis can further move up now, as 2 seconds is between Lewis and Ben. Vanessa is there. Jennifer Garcia is there. Jeff Rooney. For Ben, all it takes is that one mistake as Lewis goes flying through and Lewis crashes on the corner just behind him, shakes his head. That's the difference of knowing the corner speed or just pushing it. Jennifer Garcia now, last lap coming up on Fantastic Alien Sea. What does she have left in the legs? She also has a Racer's Edge power-up left. But Tim Fulford, he is determined. He said he only wants to try and he wants to add the points to his rankings over on Cycle Data. But there is that win, as you can see, the start-finish line. Rick Woods, hot on the heels. He's in 4th as he slides out ever so slightly. Moti hanging on for dear life now as everybody slides on over. Tim is compelled to keep the pace high, but Ben looks over the shoulder, and there is a hungry Vanessa Murahan. And it's moments like this. You ask Timothy Tamont what it's like to sprint up against CVRcade's head moderator and also awesome support person, Vanessa Murahan. I would not wish it upon anyone because she can push you to the limit and then some. And right now, Ben is thinking, oh no, there goes my Omnium win. I've worked so hard. I've done so well. And now it's Vanessa behind me who's trying to bridge that gap. But further up, Tim still needs to win. Tim has got Moti. He's got Rick. If he wants to win the Omnium, he's going to need to get every single point now available on course. Moti in 2nd place. You can see, he almost overlaps wheels with Rick. When you're on the edge, that's when you take more chances, and you can just feel the effort from Moti. He's not in a place where he feels like he's in control, and therefore he must take risks. And with 1.8 kilometers to go, Ben Shuilong uses Racer's Edge. He wants to get away, but he pushes it to the line. That is so close to crashing as he had one more lane, one more swap as he once more has to brake. Vanessa, though, if you go back and see her 2 seconds down, if she catches Ben and Tim wins, I believe Tim wins the Omnium. And Ben Shuilong, all of Team CCC, they're watching this and they're going, come on, Ben, you can do it. For the Yellow Riders, but Vanessa, she's being cheered on the exact same way, and there she goes. But this could be too much. She's got to be careful. This corner coming up, if you go too quick, you could slide out. You see, she gets safely through one. She's managing it, and there you have it on the scoreboard. 20-point lead between Tim Fulford and Ben Shuilong at this moment. Vanessa now just passing Moti as well. Tim on the front. I think he's yet to use his Racer's Edge. I think we might see it being popped right here now as he does so on the straightaway, applying the pressure because he needs to keep Rick Woods at bay. Rick has pushed Tim to the limit before, and we're seeing it once more. A crash here could hinder it. Can Tim manage to ride this descent fault-free, or will he be pushed to the limit by CVR's Rick Woods? Vanessa's there in 3rd as well, and she's taking away valuable points. But I think, as it stands now, if my math is correct, Tim and Ben are tied. Then it comes down to bonus points. Cycle data will take care of all that, preliminary results and so on. But what we see on the front is exiliant racing. Now, Tim pressing it to the line now. He's got a tight corner coming up here, and that will be almost it now with 300 meters to go. Rick is just on his back, but Tim Fulford, that you can see his face. He said he was going to enjoy Alien Sea. I think that win is quite enjoyment. It's quite enjoyable for Tim sprinting to the line, and he will take the fantastic Alien Sea win, as I think Rick Woods will come second, Vanessa Murahan third. I think the tiebreaker is determined on bonus points, but I think Ben and Tim will both receive similar bonus points. But I think Ben receives more bonus points from preferred zone, as you now watch Lewis sprinting versus Jennifer Garcia. Excellent racing. I think I may have been wrong. I think Ben still takes it on preferred points and preferred zone bonus points. But at this point, we refer to the executive jury, judge, commissioner, Rene Valadez, and cycle data. Jennifer Garcia finishes, Jeff Rooney 7th, Kayla in 8th, Homer Thompson further down. Whew, great racing all around. I mean, CVRcade racing never really disappoints. It never lets you down. As you can see, the physical effort on Tim's face, looking around, taking in all the data. On in 10 minutes time, Mixer, we go again with more racing here in the CVRcade World Cup. We'll have Nigel Doyle. No, excuse me. We'll have Nigel Doyle also broadcasting in, as Zone L will be the last zone of the open sessions before we head into the bracketed session. Good testing, good racing, and the mood has definitely been set. But Tim, congratulations. It looked like Rick really pushed you to the limit. Talk me through that race from your perspective.
Yeah, it was for about sorting out who would stick with it on the first lap, and a lot more dropped off than I thought. And then I found myself with a gap just at the start of the climb on the second lap, and I thought, well, I've got to push on, and if I push on, they have to as well. Rick pushed me hard, but I think, as I've learned with Rick before, if you can come out of that last corner in the lead, then you hold the cards to take it.
Well, congratulations, Tim. I don't actually know, because we have to refer to the finalized result, but I think on preferred bonus points, I think Ben may just take it. But we look forward to the bracket. Sorry?
Preferred bonus points. I'd like some of those.
The preferred zone bonus points. We've never had a tie before. So I think I will not speak up on that. So I think we'll refer and we'll wait, because I honestly have not been in this position before. So it's good to see the testing.
Ben raced hard. Let him have them.
But Tim, bracketed session coming up. Whoever wins the Elite Omnium Series in the bracketed session takes home $3,000. Many look to you as the big favorite. How do you think you will perform under that pressure?
I don't know, really. We'll have to see. It's obviously something a little bit new. I'm supposed to be going into a slightly easier off-season, but I think that will now not happen. But it'll be probably more directed racing, which means I might be fresher in the races, I guess. So I've got a few back and a few knee niggles. But yeah, we'll give it a best. Hope lots of people turn up and we can get some good racing.
Somewhere everyone else just shook their head and said, Tim, more fresh in racing? Oh, please, don't let it be so. But nonetheless, Tim, thank you very much for the interview, and I wish you good luck in the next races. It looks like you're getting ready. A few other riders are getting set up and coming into the broadcast. I think we've got Frank Garcia on the line as well as he gets ready for more racing. Frank, that last race, so back and forth in Zone K. What was your highlight, both from a racing perspective, but also from a Team CVRcade perspective from the last zone?
Well, I think the highlight for us was Rick did well in a race, and Vanessa had a little breakout race on Fantastic Alien Sea, which was great to see. And I think the team's getting tired at the end of this session. But otherwise, I thought the racing was great fun to watch. I was sort of soft pedaled after the starts, after I get dropped, and watched the action. It was really fun to watch.
Now, you are currently second overall, I believe, on the cycle data rankings. This is going to be the last chance to try and leapfrog Tim. Will that be the case for you? Is that going to be your aim for this last zone?
Well, we're going to see if we can light it up and see how the body responds. It wasn't too favorable in terms of its responses so far this morning, but we'll see if the coffee kicks in and we get a little burst here with some motivation to come over the top of Tim for the end of the session.
We'll see as the racing gets underway in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Thank you, Frank. On the screen, we just recently saw Timothy Termont. And Timothy, what just happened in Zone K? I mean, you were up there, you were ready to go, and it just wasn't going to be for you. You did have Tim up there. Does this mean now that Zone L is all for you?
Yeah, let's put it like that. I was warming up. Yeah, that was it. Definitely. Yeah, this is the last race of the open session, so let's just smash it one more time. We'll see where we get. I'm excited.
How about the bracketed sessions? How much more incentivized are you as a racer? How much more motivated are you as a racer when there's that tangible prize money? Because the open session had a bit of it in the first week. I think there's still some money every week being won, but now coming into the bracketed session, suddenly whoever wins the Elite Omnium Series takes home $3,000. How much more motivated are you to race when that's the case?
That's a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, it definitely gets you a bit more motivated. Well, a bit more. Now, it's a lot of money to race for, so we'll see how far we get. We'll see. The main goal is still to qualify for the grand finals, of course.
I think it's going to be a close fight for that, but we'll see now as this is the end. Good luck in the racing ahead of us, Timothy. If we've got Nigel Doyle in here, because I think Nigel is scheduled to be racing. We'll get it confirmed in a second or not. Nigel, are you in the broadcast yet as we watch the highlights of the last race?
Yes, I am. Yeah,
It's good to have you here, Nigel. Now, you watched Ben. You watched your CCC teammate perform well. You've been on a roll. Is it your time to shine now and take another win for CCC?
No, I'm tired. I'm a little bit older than some of the other guys, and I'd normally be having a recovery week about now. So I'm almost thinking, just ride around, save myself for the bracketed session starting next week. If I go hard today, I'm just going to be worn out. But who knows? Yeah.
I love the fact that I feel like every Saturday, Nigel, we have the same conversation. It's, Ben's okay. He sets the tone, Nigel. He just assists up for you to just knock it out of the park. And so far, you've delivered. Now, the question I really want to ask you, Nigel, is because you are the person I associate with a closed beta. You've been there from pretty much day one to where we are today. What's your CVRcade journey been like as we get ready for racing? Because you've been there for so long. What's it been like for you?
Oh, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. It was a bit of a rocky start, but I think those of us who've hung in there from the start, it's been certainly well worthwhile. The game's come along a heck of a long way to where we are today. I think there's a way to go yet, but it's reasonably stable and it's a lot of fun to race on.
What about this winter session? Because there's rumors that the next CVRcade World Cup will have a prize purse of $100K. How do you see everything progress as we get hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands users on the platform? How do you see the advantage you have now kind of come into play when they all get on and race for the big bucks?
Oh, yeah, I think those of us who've been with it a while have a definite advantage because there's a lot of skill, as you've just seen in the last couple of races on Country Rally and Dust Bowl Crit. It's not all about speed. It's, when to brake, knowing the corner speeds, not crashing into other riders. There's a big skill element a lot of the time.
There you got it, everybody. Get on now, get racing. Nigel Doyle, always awesome to have you in the broadcast, and we look forward to see if we can repeat what happened earlier. Like, actually, I think the last 2 weeks have been pretty much deja vu, but we'll see if that's going to break up today as we get ready here in Echelon. So Zone L, this is the zone after Zone K. This is where riders get a second chance to maybe make up for some of their racing earlier on. This is where riders who've been watching Zone K, getting inspired, jumps on the bike, and they want to race as well. Now, we do the same 5 races: Echelon, Country Rally, Hypnotic Highway, Dust Bowl Crit, and we finish off with Fantastic Alien Sea. When this race concludes, that will be it for the opening session. And it has been an absolute joy to be your guide through all of this. But as we look forward into the future, the bracketed session has got a heck of a lot more prize money. And then you heard Timothy talk about the grand finale. Now is the time to get involved. Get on the platform, get racing. Because as you heard Nigel say, there's so much skill involved in this that you got to get on and got to get practicing, because if you want to win the money, if you want to be up there where it matters, if you want to be a Tim Fulford, a Ben Shuilong, a Frank Garcia, it takes practice. You don't just stumble in through the door and suddenly, bam, you're winning Country Rally, bam, you're winning Fantastic Alien Sea. No, it takes a lot of time, a lot of practice to be up here with the CADE competitors, the CADE pros and masters. And you know it's been a tough zone when Tim takes off the headband, off the cap. That means serious business here in Zone L. Now, there's a bit of a sub-story going on, a secondary storyline, because Frank and Tim in the cycle data rankings are close. They're separated by 13 points, I believe. And I'm just going to get them up here on my side to see what Frank would require to try and catch up to Tim, because that is the secondary story that's unfolding here between the front racers as there's so much pride, honor. It seems to be loading a tiny bit. It's because we're streaming it. I'll get that down just to make sure that the stream stays stable and you can hear me throughout. But there's a lot of pride, a lot of honor on the line to be able to say the first ever CVRcade open sessions, I won the overall. I was the most consistent throughout the 4 weeks. And now I don't believe there's a prize purse for it here in the open sessions, but when you come into the elite bracket, it's where the winner takes $3,000. Nigel Doyle, Team CCC, he is in and ready to rock. As you heard him say, he would usually be resting up and getting ready for the bracketed session, but he wants to have a bit of part in the fun as well. 5 shorter races. I love the fact that Nigel Doyle actually set up test events prior to this and spent hours upon hours, testing the corner speeds, understanding that what racers edge, wind at your back, weight lifted does. As we see Kayla this morning, when we saw her, she was indulged in darkness. You could barely see Kayla except for the shrine on her glasses. She was using it as practice early morning, but we'll see. Can she take a step up? Team CVRcade, they've been dominant as of late, but they've been lacking that last bit of punch. They've been lacking that emphasis of, you know what, we're here and we are the dominant team, because if you look at the platform right now, there's not a singular team that's running away with everything. It was CVRcade for a period of time, then it was Cycling Hub, then it was CCC, and now Cognition are the next team to be rising up through the ranks and being a force to be reckoned with. And it's good to see the balancing and the stabilization of the teams and the racing now as MoTPK in the 3rd zone of the day. Some may say addicted to CVRcade racing. Some may just say addicted to having fun as we watch Moti of Cognition. Last lap, Echelon. Concluding the open sessions, no skill event, 1 comeback kit. Will someone try to go along? The last race, we'll see. The last race, it was very, very late they went. They went with 150 meters to go. And Ben Shuilong said, I've never seen that before. I've never seen anyone go so late. But nonetheless, everyone thought they were going to have it. It was funny to hear Jennifer Garcia say, I thought I had it. I gave it everything. I was there. Then out of nowhere, they just went on through. I think Tim and Timothy are on. I think they're either messaging each other or they're both ordering pizza at the same time. I don't know. We'll have to refer to Beth York, my co-commentator, to see what is the case. Timothy, thumbs up. I think that was the pizza comment. I think. As never want to turn down a snack. Timothy Timon, king of the bottom left-hand corner, the mustache man, as Tim Fulford now coming on through. Last straight away off echelon here. Scoring multiplier off 1. 1 kilometer to go. Who will it be? Nigel and Kayla, the two fresher riders. You can see they're a bit antsy. They're a bit jumpy on the front. Tim's on the phone. This would be like, if you can see the broadcast, which you can through the broadcast widget in the game, when you see Tim's on the phone like that, that's when you try and pounce. That's when you try and attack, because you know he's not going to be paying attention to the screen. As Nigel Doyle in the yellow, standing up. They're so jumpy. Everybody just antsy. Nigel at 500 equalized. Tim is down there doing much, much less. There he goes. 2,000 equalized. What's Neil Stewart? What is going on here? Neil Stewart breaking every bone in his body to apply the pressure. And that is a cinder block dropped on the peloton. Neil Stewart, big upfront power as Nigel Doyle uses comeback kid, quickly stopped now as Moti P. Kilney comes on through. Cognition rider, but Frank Garcia is next as he goes on to win echelon. What a race. That was really, really good, and kudos to Neil Stewart. That cinder block absolutely just smashed the pack to pieces. Let's catch that once more on an instant replay, because what did we just witness? I mean, that was excellent racing all around. So Neil Stewart, just to do 2,000 equalized watts, you have to go so incredibly hard. Well done. Then Nigel trying to use comeback kid, but due to the draft behind him, they catch on up and they negate his comeback kid. Then Moti loses the draft as he goes on to the front and smashes the power. Frank being clever, using the draft to his advantage. Jeff too as well, but it's Frank Garcia taking the win in front of Jeff Rooney in second place. Congratulations, Frank, that win. I mean, when Neil Stewart attacked, I think Frank and me are just going to either get more coffee or more water. Nonetheless, when you win, you don't even need to talk to us. You can go and do whatever. I think Jeff might be in the stream, but I'm hearing news that Luis may also be wanting to watch as he races in. So we'll see if that is the case. We've got Luis on the screen. So if Jeff can hear us, good time to restart your VMix call. Nigel Moti. Nigel, the comeback kit, you used it. It ran out. Was that a moment of panic, or what happened in your camp?
No, I was trying to get second behind Frank to get the slingshot effect, but I just didn't. You got to get the timing right with it, and if you don't get it right, yeah, it's a waste of time.
Waste of time. I like that though. So that most powerful power up in the game, dubbed by some waste of time. Good racing nonetheless, Nigel. Country rally. This is one that requires that skill element you were talking about earlier. And I know you were testing some of these courses with abilities. What can you tell us that you found out from your testing?
You've got to watch those corner speeds. It's so easy to crash. I crashed a lot. You've basically got one eye on the road on your speed, and then another eye on your little map that you might have next to you with your corner speeds on, although there's basically two corner speeds on this circuit, so you just got to remember which ones are which.
Well, we'll see if you've done your homework right, Nigel. Good luck, and we'll see if that's an A+ grade or below failing come the end. Moti was fourth in the last race. How is the body reacting to 3 zones back to back, Moti?
It feels like 4 because Thursday night was not that long ago. That was tough. 4th again. That it was a longer sprint than we did the first time, and boy, did Frank take advantage of the power I put out. He played that perfectly. I want to replay that and be able to copy it. for the next bracketed session. That's how to do it. The comeback kit is such a cool power up in those no skill events. There's so much timing and so much reaction you have to do. There's no like exact way to use it. You just have to use the force and do it. And that was how it was done. So hats off to him. Excited to see how it's going to go here on Country Rally.
I have a new nickname for you. Using the Force, you've got to be the Yoda of CVRcade Racing, Moti. So inspirational, so powerful, yet so understated. Moti, 40 seconds to go. I'll let you rest up and get ready because this is gonna be fireworks. Jeff Rooney is in the broadcast, everybody. Look who's entered the building. Good to see he's ready to rock and roll. We'll speak to Jeff later on as he's currently second on the leaderboard. We'll let him get in the zone. Same goes for Timothy Tamund as he checks the app. How far away is the pizza delivery guy? That joke will never get old. That thanks to Beth York, that joke will always live on in the CVRcade World Cup broadcasting. 8 seconds to go. Frank lifts the cap, and I think we're going to see a sprint out of the gate. You have one inertia, one uncrashable. This race will set the tone for the racing ahead. The no skill event happened. You use the force, and we'll see who will become a Jedi Master and who will remain a Padawan youngling. Frank Garcia absolutely killing it with the uncrashable power up. Look at the power being produced. How long will it last? Will he go through the barn door? Yes, he comes through one. Will he break down? No, he crashes as he exits the corner. He just misses it, and Tim Fulford will take advantage. So will Nigel Doyle. Now, Nigel has spent the most time I know of anyone practicing this exact event. You heard him say he's got the corner speeds down, but when it comes to execution, it is a totally different game. You can do the practice, you can do the homework, but when the lights are on and the spectators make up the crowd, as Moti uses inertia and uncrashable, he uses it early this time as we'll watch him pass right on through Timothy, right on through Nigel. He's going to hope to... Oh, he doesn't slow down in time. Not happy as Timothy also makes the same, not a mistake, but I think he overlaps the wheels or turns in one too early. Moti, that's when you use the inertia power-up. You kind of throw your fate in the hands of the power-up because that's going to run out eventually. And it just ran out at a very inopportune time now as Nigel Doyle uses his uncrashable and he comes through Tim Fulford. The fresh legs of Nigel Doyle still licking the wounds from the rugby. Will he be able to make amends here as now you watch him race on through? One lap to go of Country Rally. Tim Fulford, his inertia, but he's going to be forced to use uncrashable most likely here as well. He's got one hand on and there it goes. That is the uncrashable. He accelerates on through the barn door, and he's going to need to get through every corner onto the hay bales. One hay bale through, two hay bales through, as Timothy Tamund goes down again. Kayla riding on through, representing the Team CVRcade team flag here, the green jersey, as she is in third, as Nigel Doyle stacks it just through the corner, and now Kayla will say, oh, she hits the back of Nigel! Oh, so unlucky as Nigel just comes back into, and Kayla can't believe her luck. That's literally the difference of like half a second between going right on through and in the pursuit of Tim Fulford or slamming into the back of Nigel. And with 300 meters to go, I can't believe what we just witnessed. The odds of that happening are astronomically small. And Kayla, she may have to go out and get a lottery ticket after this because that is very unlucky. Tim Fulford, he's got the locks to pass on through, and he will take another victory here on Country Rally. Celebration, party time, good times for Tim. As Nigel, he crashes down as he fights with Kayla. All that practice, Kayla will come in second. Nigel versus Moti. Kayla is happy just to finish. Now, Moti, and I'm not sure if Kayla thinks she won that or not, but she's just happy to get second. Moti will take Nigel on the line. Frank Garcia, 5th place. Nigel cannot believe that one. Then Frank 5th and Timothy in 6th. The thing about a 5-event Omnium is there's so many points on offer. Timothy had his uncrashable left, decided not to use it earlier, but there's so many events, there's so many races that even a poor start can be made up in the later races if you find your groove. Tim Fulford with the celebration as we watch Nigel and Kayla. Nigel, I mean, just there, then not. It was back and forth as I'm not sure what's happening with the replay machine. It may be going through the shredder or whatever, but it could be powered by Lex out on course as everyone starts warming up for the next race. Tim Fulford rocking to the music. He's got Don't Stop Believing by Journey going on through his ears. And that's exactly what happened for him. He stuck with it from start to end, celebrating that one as Funky Town is definitely got one more population. Congratulations. We'll see Tim just out of frame. Do you need to get another beat on Tim, or what's happening?
No, I'm going to take this race off. So I'm not going to race. Race 3.
Oh, so that opens up the doors. Country Rally, another win, Tim. This time around, what did you do differently from the previous race?
I knew what speeds I had to go to the corners. So rather than undercooking it by like 5 k's an hour, Frank was unlucky. I think his uncrashable just ran out beforehand, and just relax really. And everyone talks about the groove, and that's what it is really. Just watching the replay of Motti, and he's sort of staring his avatar down as if trying not to crack his eyes, which is just brilliant.
What music were you listening to at the end? What song?
Where the Hood At by DMX.
Well, that seems to be Tim Fulford's secret sauce. If you want to take tips away, I can recommend that song, especially as a warm-up song. Rest up in the next race, Tim, and get ready for more racing. Kayla is 6 points behind, and with Tim not racing this one, she will take points on back. Kayla, the celebration, it was almost like you thought you won, or were you just happy to get second place?
Oh, yeah. At that point, I was just so happy to take second place because just the crash earlier, well, not the crash, but the bump with Nigel, I just thought that, it's just unfortunate that I, ran to the back of him. So I was just, at that point, I was like, all right, it's just me against Nigel at that point. Let's just go. So once when he crashed and whatnot, I was like, yes, I took the victory because every point counts in the Omnium. So I was so happy about that, even if it was second place.
Well, it was some good racing. I still can't believe how unlucky that bump was. So I feel for you, but it made for a good highlight, Kayla. Good luck in the next race at Nautic Highway. I want to hear from Motti real quick because Motti, the rage we saw when your inertia just didn't run out in time. What happened?
Oh, I thought I had analyzed and corrected my mistake from the race this morning when I used it. And was it this morning or the last series? I didn't. I used it probably like you could overlay the two pieces of footage, and I made the identical mistake, which is like unforgivable. So I was frustrated with myself, and I'm going to have to go work on that course in that weird game state with the wind at your back. It was a challenge, and had it gone my way, it would have paid off with quite a few seconds made up, but it went the other way again.
I love the emphasis on again. Good luck, Moti. We'll see how Yoda fares in this next one as Tim Fulford taking a race off, opening the door for the rest of the riders. Frank Garcia on the front here as he's accelerating. He wants to try and get as many points as possible here in the Hypnotic Highway race. We've got Timothy Tamont. He's on the screen out of Belgium, 160 equalized heart rate, with his captain choosing to get a rest, which is not something you'd be too surprised of seeing the amount of racing Tim Fulford goes through. Will Timothy Tamont be able to pick up the baton and, really come to the top here as he understands the pressure that's upon his shoulders? He's up against Kayla Laguna, Frank Garcia, as he's got Ryan Goldenberg out there helping Moti Pikelny as well. Timothy trying to get onto the wheel of Ryan Goldenberg as Ryan gets through the front here. And now we have Timothy Tamont and Moti Pikelny off the back. Ryan goes on through, as you can see from above here. He passes Frank. He passes Kayla. But what is he racing for here? What does he want? He's not on the broadcast today, racing-wise, but he is in amongst the peloton. So we'll see what he's trying to take away from this. Frank Garcia, second place. He's going to need all the points. He's really going to try and take all the points available here today to get those 16 points that are missing at the top. So Ryan uses Quantum Shift. I think this is a sportsmanship move, allowing Kayla and Frank to go right on through and then trying to slot in on the back wheel. Moti, though, he is now in 4th place, soon to be 3rd place, as he fights his way through. It's only one lap of Hypnotic Highway, and between Frank, Kayla, Moti, it is so incredibly close to taking the overall victory, because after this, we've got Dust Bowl Crit, then we've got Fantastic Alien Sea, and with the numbers advantage, it's going to be interesting to see how they play this one. Nigel Doyle, Timothy Tamont, 4th and 5th as well, as they have just missed the boat further up. It's Bon Voyage. We'll see if they can be able to hatch back on and get back up into that leading group. But Kayla, Frank, Moti, they will somewhat conservatively work together, because I think they all share the same goal, which is to keep the chain tight. But Kayla just there hitting 0 equalized watts, so she goes off to the back. We watch the scoreboard and it's changing back and forth. Top 3, depending on how this one plays out with these specifically 3 riders, it's going to be close going forward. Speaking of preferred zones, Moti has his preferred zone, Nigel, Kayla, and Frank. They all get bonus points as Nigel Doyle uses Racer's Edge. Can Timothy Tamont hatch onto this? This is where we'll see his character come through as Nigel Doyle uses Racer's Edge. He is back up with the front 3, and Timothy Tamont once more on the phone, just asking, I said pepperoni. I said pepperoni. No more of this anchovies. I don't want pineapple. I want pepperoni. So he's trying to multitask. Nonetheless, we'll see if that's going to be the end of his chances. Oh, absolutely love Timothy Tamont. He's one of the characters of the broadcast. So we'll see if he can come on through. Moti now just being distanced. He got back on, but the pace from Nigel Doyle as he used Racer's Edge and Quantum Shift to go right on through. And that's having an impact on Cognition's Moti P. Kelly. Everybody is starting to talk about the bracketed sessions. That's a sentence. That is a definition you need to understand, that the CVRcade World Cup is 9 weeks long. The first 4 weeks is the qualifying weeks. It's the opening sessions where the best riders qualify for the next 4 weeks of racing, called the bracketed session. Now, the prize money significantly ramps up in the bracketed session, and that's why everyone is talking about it as Nigel Doyle. Him and Frank Garcia, old pals, as you can see on the front, not allowing each other to draft. There's going to be no cooperation between the two of them, and Frank says, right, you don't want to work with me? Work with this. And he knows Nigel Doyle doesn't have Racer's Edge. Kayla, Moti. And if Nigel just worked with Frank, if Nigel didn't try to leave Frank in the dust, none of them would have to use all their powers. Nigel wouldn't be left in the dust, but actions have consequences. Just like in the real life, where you work together in a 2-up breakaway. If you work together, it gets easier. If you don't work together, you have to accelerate. Can Nigel Doyle, fresh Nigel, make up the disadvantage he now finds himself in? All power-ups have been used. Moti versus Kayla. Frank on the front, and Nigel contemplating life decisions at this moment down in 4th. You can see him rocking his cadence, smile on his face. Can never shake that one. I still remember the evening of 1,000 head shakes, one of my favorite evenings of CVRcade racing. But at the front now, Kayla, Moti. Will the blocking occur? It is one of the controversial topics of CVRcade racing. Frank in the front. The gameplay mechanic is changed to a bump, and with Quantum Shift out of the gate, that means Moti can now bridge across, but he needs to have it in the legs halfway through the racing. They're on the descent. Frank looks over. He didn't say he had the best of legs today. He required caffeine and coffee to get back in. But Moti, this is it. This is where he shines. Where most people think, maybe I should just put a break on it. Moti goes, no, I'm going into 7th. I'm going into 8th. I've got a ninth gear, and you're watching that ninth gear now on the runway. She gets ready for takeoff. Let's see the Boeing 377 or whatever it's called as he gets ready. Somewhere the Tempest, Nils Heldens, and the Swedish chef Victor Lundqvist, they're just shaking their heads going, what are you trying to do? Well, I don't blame you. But with this much racing, we've all got to have a bit of fun. And Moti, he bridges the gap back up to Frank Garcia, getting onto the straightaway. And this racing is far from over. Frank now slides back in. We'll see if the two choose to work together. Moti is on it. He is applying the pressure, both at 182 equalized heart rate. So they're the relative same suffering looking at their heart rates, but heart, legs, brain, they all got to talk together. Nigel is in fourth, losing out on some points here. Kayla in third as well. So he's going to try and see if he can take it down Kayla's podium finish in this one, but she will work her way through. And with 3.3 kilometers to the front, they have got a good chance. Further back, it looks like Tim is just spinning out the legs. Timothy Tamont and Ryan Goldenberg have found their friends in Guillermo, in Elon, in Musk, in Robert Thomas, whatever else they're called out on course. Timothy just hungry, waiting for that pepperoni pizza to show up any moment now. As on the front, Frank Garcia, Moti Bikelny, 5 seconds down to Kayla. Frank will not take a turn at this point because he's got his second hand, his right hand lady, Kayla Laguna, further down. So if he takes a turn, that kind of goes against team order. So now Moti knows this and knows he's in a peculiar situation where he does not want Kayla to get back on. So he applies the pressure again. But Frank is in the draft, meaning that despite Moti's efforts, Frank will get a rest. He doesn't have to spend the same amount of energy because of the percentages he's saving. And now Frank gets to the front and slows down and says, right, I don't need to do anything. And Moti will now have to go again. If he sits up and rests, Kayla will come back. Nigel will come back. And they're only 10 seconds down. This is turning into a this is like a track sprint. The both of them are looking at each other. It comes down to who is willing to lose the most in order to win the highest. Like, you've got to keep your calm, you got to keep your cool, and wait for the right moment to pounce. The gap is still significant. It's 14 seconds. They've got all power-ups unleashed as we watch Nigel. He is not going that quick either. So now you have 2 heads-up sprints. Timothy could technically get back to Nigel and Kayla, but it will require an effort as Moti goes again on the front. He goes with 1,000 equalized watts. Moti, not even needing to stand up, is applying the pressure as he just spins away with everything he's got. Can Frank Garcia answer the beck and calls now? Moti to the left, Frank on the right, sliding out but not crashing thanks to the uncrashable ability. As 1.7 kilometers to go, Frank is in the driving seat. Moti is the one being aggressive, but Frank is answering every jab with a counter punch, and we're just waiting for the knockout bell. Down for the count, but not out just yet. Kayla, further back, she uses quantum shift, so she's going to leave Nigel. She's going to attempt to leave Nigel now as they go side by side onto the last climb of Hypnotic Highway. It's the 3rd out of 5 races. Nigel there. So very important points on offer on the front. Moti goes again. It's just never stops. How many bullets is in that chamber? This is just relentless. And Frank Garcia, it looks like the elastic finally snapping here. 1.2 Ks to go, and he is just rocking away. So you can wear him down, you can tear him down, and in the end, it looks like Moti will get it his way. But that is some sort of effort-breaking record. That is a PB if I've ever seen one. Again and again and again, he would just not stop. And now, will it pay off? Tim was in a position just like this in Zone K, with Lewis catching him on the line. Frank doesn't have Racer's Edge. I think he may have Quantum Shift, but he is saving some energy for Dust Bowl Crit coming up after this. But I tip my hat to these, Moti Bikelny. Where there's a will, there's a way. The Yoda teachings, there is no try. There's only do or do not. And he definitely went, and did. And with 600 meters to go, Both of them looking up, looking at the scoreboard. Frank can't rest too much as Nigel and Kayla are moving their way back up. They're 11 seconds down with 500 meters to go, and Kayla trying to distance Nigel, but they're side by side as Kayla just puts on the blocks. Nigel moves over, but with the bumping mechanics, you need to be ahead of the other riders as you're watching Kayla attempt to put a block on, but it's not going to succeed. 200 meters to go. That is a well-deserved victory if I have seen one. Working for it, wanting it, and as she passes through the sweets, the Candyland, the donuts, whatever you want to call them, the Dragon Ball Z balls, Mo TP Kelly takes Hypnotic Highway for the second time of the racing, and he has got nothing left. Frank Garcia next up now. She's going to be second. Nigel Doyle versus Kayla. Nigel takes third. Kayla fourth. Timothy Tamont versus Ryan Goldenberg. Timothy put in a bit of a sprint and left Ryan behind. Whew, what a race. I mean, that was just back and forth, bend but don't break mentality. In the end, Moti takes the win, but at what cost? Let's see that finish once more as Moti just gets down, has nothing left. It's not often you see him bent over the handlebars, trying, gasping for air. And now they have to do it again on Dust Bowl Crit in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. If you want to be a part of Team Cognition, I'm sure you can reach out to Moti and be part of his teachings. But that right there, that just looked like pure determination. Like, you can teach anyone everything, you can have the right knowledge, but when it comes to game day, you've got to execute, and no effort nonetheless. Moti, I mean, I don't even want to ask you this, but how do you feel right now following that effort?
Oh, that was tough. I probably worked, 10%, 15% harder than I did this morning when I had teammates with me. It just shows what a difference it makes, and I'm going to pay for it on Dust Bowl here. I'm going to try to do exactly what I did in the previous zone, but after an effort like that to hold off 2 Team CVRcade riders, I have almost nothing left. So we'll see if that was actually a good strategy. I think that Frank might have been goading me into that over effort, because it's not just this. We've got to go up Alien Sea twice. So there's a lot of racing left to go, and that hurt.
Well,
just for a couple
good luck, Moti. I mean, if there's any Cognition riders watching this, I think that is your call to get on as soon as possible and help out Moti. But let's go and hear from Frank, because was that the case, Frank? Were you purposely trying to get Moti to spend energy in that last race?
Oh yeah, he's done for. I mean, he won't be able to do the next couple of races for sure. No, he just rode me off his wheel. Great job, and I just didn't have the legs to stay with him. So he's probably in really good stead, for the next couple of races. But me and Kayla are close. We're 2 and 3, and we'll see if we can replace Monty at the top, and but not get greedy while we're trying to do it. So just good racing, hopefully, from here on out.
That is the big task. Don't get greedy in these corners, especially with the racer's edge ability. Best of luck, Frank. Now, Nigel, you were there, and then it came down to the wire. What happened in that last race from your perspective, back down in 3rd and 4th place?
I was behind. I used the power up, so I came through and didn't have the legs to sort of make the most of it. So they passed me, and then Kayla and I duked it out to the end, which was a lot of fun. So thanks, Kayla, for that. It was good fun.
Do you regret not working with Frank and Kayla once you made it to the front?
No, from experience, you got to be very careful working with Frank. If you're not on his team, he can do something, get in front of you and slow down, something like that. So no, I keep away from Frank.
I love the tactics going on in between teams. Thank you, Nigel. I like the fact that Team CCC thinks of Frank as like a Portuguese man of war to keep well aware of or well steer of as you see him. And I'm sure that many share those same thoughts with some of the Cycling Hub members as the block-in reached a high recently, but it's coming back down with the gameplay chanting. Timothy Tamant going, me? No! I'm too busy being off the back and being spat as Moti Kelny raised. No, inertia! He knows it. Oh, he knows it. Both power-ups at the same time, and that right there is I think it's like, go off, don't show me, show somebody else on the screen. This is not a good moment. Kale Laguna crashes down. Timothy just having a bit of fun at the expense of Moti Kelny. So Kayla crashes. Moti, the effort from the last race, he tried to emulate what he did before, but Tim Fulford is back. But you gotta take 24 points off the scoreboard as he didn't finish the last race. He chose to skip the long race and focus here on Dust Ball Crit and Fantastic Alien Sea. Frank Garcia is in the driving position at the front. He is 5.5 points ahead of Moti, but despite using both his power-ups, will he be able to get back in and contest the top? Timothy on the left trying to force a mistake out of Frank, but Frank sees it and slows down extra on that turn. Timothy now, I think he's just trying to be. Oh, as Moti goes down again. Oh, sorry, he goes down in that corner. So, and then also Frank, while that happens, oversteers. 2 mistakes back to back. Trying not to get greedy is the name of the game, but the scoreboard is so incredibly close. Oh, Frank used his path of least resistance here. He's going to hope that that runs out because he's in risk of crashing. Oh, it got one more, and I think he gets lucky with the way that the road pans out. To whether that was strategy or not, I guess we'll wait and see. But when you use path of least resistance, you slide right, you slide left, depending on which way the road is bending. Cycling Hub 1 and 2 currently on the front. Moti is down with Kayla in 5th and 6th, but the scoreboard is incredibly close between 1st and 5th at this time of moment, even down to 6th. With the way this race is panning out, anyone can win, and it's going to be a fantastic finish to the open sessions here in the CVRcade World Cup. Tim Fulford, dominant display on the front. Timothy Tamant and Nigel Doyle fighting for 2nd and 3rd, but Tim coming in fresh. He may have done the mental calculations and gone, you know what? It's quite tough to race that hard. As now Timothy and Nigel. Timothy chooses the right-hand side. Nigel on the inside. Timothy trying to force a mistake out of Nigel Doyle, but not to be had on the first of 2 races. Nigel stands up. Timothy stands up. Both of them pop their power-ups and they get ready to go. So does Kayla. Frank, Kayla, and Moti all leaving very valuable points up for grabs here for the 3 riders ahead of them. As Kayla in 5th, she gets back on touch with her captain, Frank Garcia, but so does Moti Kelny. Used his inertia right from the gun. That is not optimal race winning strategy from the Cognition team leader. He'll be going to bed tonight having nightmares of the inertia power up. As he now, oh, Nigel Doyle, speaking of nightmares, he crashes, and now we'll see. Will Team CVR hit the back of him? Frank slides out but doesn't crash, and the 3 riders make up the chasing group with Moti on the wheel. Very important point as Kayla, Frank, Nigel, they will all have their power-ups remaining. That will be an advantage against Moti. But on the front, you'll see Frank Garcia. You'll see Kayla coming into this. You got to be careful you don't overlap the wheels as both of them come on through just on the line. They stay safe. Nigel once more books a ticket to crash. Will he stands up? He's not happy. You can do all the practice in the world with these abilities, but come game day, you know, as Frank also stacks it as his rider takes a rest by the side of the road. Not happy, shakes his head, hands above his head. Timothy Tamant solidifying his 2nd place. Kayla with inertia. Moti will need to sprint. He cannot let go. He doesn't have the luxury of the inertia power-up. He threw that away at the beginning of the race. He needs every point he can get because he's 6 points ahead of Kayla. and only 10 points ahead, 8 points ahead of Frank, with Nigel having an absolute mare. As Timothy Tamont, all he had to do was not crash, and he crashes in the corner once more, as it's going to be Kayla taking more points, closing in on Moti. Moti comes on through, and Tim has got 100 meters to go as he took a rest in the last race, comes in fresh to Dust Bowl Crit to assert his dominance, takes the win on the penultimate race of the evening, and on to Fantastic Alien Sea he goes. Moti versus Kayla. Timothy was in such good position, but once more he crashes. And we'll see, Moti, will he have enough to take Kayla to the line? He's going to stand up and see, but it will not be the case as Timothy, oh no, he's going to bleed more points as Kayla happy with second place. Frank has got a chance to overtake Timothy here as he crosses to the line. He will shake his head, says, no, that's not going to happen. I mean, crashes everywhere from the young Belgian. That's not an optimal race strategy, as Frank and Nigel will take 4th and 5th. What a race once more. Drama all around, and we're back to the 1,000 head shakes of Nigel Doyle. Tim Fulford winning Dust Bowl Crit, and that puts him 24 points behind Moti P. Kilney. Moti 5 points ahead of Kayla, and 11 points ahead of Frank Garcia, coming into Fantastic Alien Sea. 2 scoring multiplier race. Moti has won it before, but the onslaught, the entourage behind him is quite large, and they're going to be coming right for him as Tim Fulford takes the win on Dust Bowl Crit. Moti, you're in the lead here. You've got 5 points on Kayla, but I think what everyone wants to know is, what do you think of the inertia power-up?
Oh, I just ham-fisted the keyboard when trying to use the path of least resistance and locked in the inertia. I really should be more careful, but I think it was mostly probably fatigue from my effort on the previous race. That type of thing doesn't happen that often, but it made me work a lot harder to secure that position and not potentially even finish higher up. So we're coming into this final race really close. The scoreboard is really tight, and it's going to be a lot of work, especially without teammates. So I'm excited, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I'll add hand-fisted to the fat finger dictionary of ways to explain away your power-ups. Good luck, Moti. Kayla, second place, 5 points behind. You should be relatively fresh compared to some of these other racers. I'm absolutely loving the celebrations. Will it be you celebrating come the end of this race?
Ooh, I am hoping, because Fantastic Alien Sea, this one, we got waitlisted, so it's a little bit different. So those corners are going to be coming up on you because you're going to have that increase of speed. So those last corners, I mean, they're very tricky. So I'm going to try to give it everything I got and be cautious about that. And hopefully I can have a victory dance at the end.
We'll see. We know you got a few of those in your repertoire, but Nigel, speaking of having things in your repertoire, head shakes. We've got the left, we got the right, we got the forward, we got the back. What happened in that last race?
I crashed one corner going too fast, and then another one I slid into someone. I had the corner speed sort of pretty much nailed down, but I just slid into someone and crashed. I need to sort of practice going around corners with other riders, how to get it right without crashing.
It happens. Last race, Fantastic Alien Sea. This will end the open sessions. Are we going to leave everything on the road today, Nigel?
I don't know. We'll see how we go.
Oh,
hey, I'm just happy
I like the poker games.
Yeah. I'm just happy that South Africa won the rugby last night and beat the English.
Somewhere Tim is going, right, Nigel, you're getting this one. This is for you. You just made this race 10 times harder on yourself. Good luck, Nigel. We'll see if it's going to be you scoring a try come the end of this race. I know for a fact that he'll be giving it all as Looks like Tim is either busy taking a selfie, a pre-victory selfie, or explaining something on the screen. 5 seconds to go. Moti, Kayla, Frank, Nigel, Tim all got a chance of winning. Weight lifted is the ability. Frank wants to make up for mistakes in the previous race, crashing in ways in which you don't usually see the Frank crash. Now Moti on the inside here. Frank on the outside. Tim Fulford comes through the middle. There's so much congestion here as everyone fighting for position early on as you establish the moves. Who's going to be in the breakaway? Timothy on the back, Frank down further down. Tim continuing, may just be satisfying the urge of all the hungry fans around the world, updating his Instagram stories, you know, the Snapchats to all the hungry fans of Team Cycling Hub all around the world. As Vanessa, oh, she had a breakout performance in the earlier zone. She was up there with Moti and a touch of wheels, and she goes down. Maybe a bit of excitement, a bit of adrenaline, as she chose to race this race. And now it is Moti, Nigel, Kayla on the front. You look at the scoreboard and Moti's in the driving seat, 206.5 points. Kayla will need to really dig deep to get more out of this one, because 8 points is the difference. If you take it away, well, math is, as you know, is not always my strong suit, so we'll wait and see as Kayla and Moti at this point toe to toe on the front. Kayla's got the different moves on the screen. You're almost like watching somebody do a touchdown celebration in the NFL. We've got the different salsa dances. Oh, she forces a mistake out of Moti. She forces that mistake. She moves left, and the exact same moment, Moti does the same thing. And just like that, you go from first down to 6th place in the racing. And that's going to be a tough ask to make up for it as Tim Fulford sits on up. Moti on the inside. We've seen it before. When you get fatigued, when you hand fist the keyboard, sometimes changing that lane. Kayla just 1 second ahead of the game, and that's the fatigue. That's you knowing you need to do something and doing it, and that latency, that delay between you doing it and you thinking you're doing it, that can cause mistakes. So Kayla, 201.5. Nigel, 2nd place out on course. He's going to try and make up this gap now with Vanessa, despite the crash, coming up now in 3rd place. She's had an absolute breakout performance in Zone K. And now, this is what happens with CVRcade Racing as Kayla uses Racer's Edge. Once you crack the code, it's like the Enigma. Once you understand it, you're like, oh, I should have done this the entire time. And that's what we're seeing now with Vanessa, getting the hunger, getting that taste of success at the top. And suddenly you want to race more on Fantastic Alien Sea. Suddenly you understand the games and the nuances as Timothy Tamont races Edge. He slams onto, he makes another mistake on Moti. Oh, twice. Oh, I don't know if that's being unlucky or that's just fatigue being the differentiator. Once Kayla comes through to the left, he doesn't quite see it. 2nd time, Timothy Tamont making or causing the same mistake. That pretty much takes Moti out of the picture, but Nigel's got a chance here for taking 2nd place on the podium. Coming through to the end, last lap of racing, the last lap in the CVRcade World Cup Open Sessions. Who will close the chapter? Who will shut the door on 4 great weeks of racing? And who will start off the next 4 weeks of racing with a bang? Nigel Doyle, will it be him, the Kiwi, as he gets ready? Nigel, Timothy, Vanessa, Kayla, Moti, everybody duking it out on the front. Timothy Tamont, kudos for doing 2 zones back to back today. Moti doing 3, and you're seeing the team cognition leader paying for it now, as he's going to have to dig into energy reserves he didn't even know he had. But if anything goes his way, it's the fact that he knows he can dig deep. He can continue this up. It's 2 kilometers to go. Maybe Timothy will make a mistake. Maybe Nigel will make a mistake. And Timothy says, no, I will not. But Vanessa and Kayla on the front. These are 2 riders that have bragging rights. Vanessa versus Kayla. They may be on the same team. They may be working together. But it's like Country Rally with Cycling Hub. Both of them will want their name written at the top in the stars as Vanessa takes the lead. breakout performance in K, and now the follow-up performance here in L. As usually you find her in the chat moderating, answering your questions. She is now applying that same knowledge as Nigel Doyle uses Racer's Edge. She's got to be careful because we saw Joyce DeSmith do something similar earlier today. And Nigel coming on through, and that's what I was talking about. And there it is. 4 head shakes for everyone counting. Nigel Doyle pulling a Joyce DeSmith. Kayla now takes over from Vanessa, and they're going to go toe-to-toe. This is where experience comes into play. Kayla has been in this pressured situation again and again and again. Initially, in her CVRcade World Cup racing history, she would buckle under the pressure ever so slightly, but now, with the amount of experience she's gathered, she is going to be the favorite. Kayla and Vanessa not letting each other get any draft. Kayla passes on the inside, and Vanessa will now try to counter jab. You know, she's accelerating. She's pushing down that power, and she moves on the left, and she says, I am still here. What do you have, Kayla? Kayla says, this is what I got, as she accelerates once more. What this means is Nigel, Timothy, Moti, they're out the back while fighting for secondary positions. Kayla and Vanessa, fantastic finish here between the two of them. It's going to come on to the descent. They both use their power-ups, I believe, as we get ready straight away. Vanessa pulls away in the purple. Kayla sits in, and then Vanessa slams on the brakes here. I think she may have just slammed on the brakes, getting ready for the descent a bit too early. It might allow Nigel a chance to get back in, or it may not. You're seeing Kayla. This is the last 800 meters of the CVRcade World Cup Open Sessions. Vanessa being very, very cautious. She's in a position now where she can win. Who will it be? Kayla versus Vanessa. Very good friends. And the talk at the water cooler will be that finish on Fantastic Alien Sea. The finish being written now. Kayla opting for the inside lane here as Vanessa just oversells on the brakes. Now she accelerates the pressure. This may get to Vanessa. She's going to have to be careful here. I think Vanessa is in uncharted territory. She's out where she can't reach the bottom. And I don't think she's got extra protective gear here. She's going to need an absolute stellar sprint. Last corner coming up. Kayla versus Vanessa. Kayla slams on the brakes. Vanessa goes back in. There we go. Sprint finish. Kayla gives no gifts. Vanessa at 1,500 equalized watts, but 50, 25, 20, 10. And having the dance will be Kayla Laguna. You can see how much that meant to her as she takes the win ahead of Vanessa. That just comes down to experience and confidence. As Nigel third, Moti Bikelny, applause in fourth. Kayla ends up winning the Omnium. Moti in second. Nigel third. Frank in fourth. Tim and Timothy next over the line. Timothy sits up. Well done, Timothy, for raising 2 Omniums today. Next time, I hope to see you with your alarm ready and set for Zone E in the bracketed session. But that finish, it just comes down to confidence, experience, and having been there before and understanding as Timothy crashes before reaching the finish line. Sorry, while the replay is happening, but there comes Kayla. Vanessa had higher watts, but she comes into the sprint at a disadvantage on the inside lane, further back, and that initial gap that Kayla has, as you can see her standing up, applying the pressure. There was a second there where she may have thought Vanessa was going to close the gap, and when that wasn't the case, she was the one able to pull the celebration. Always fantastic to see the joy come through. Congratulations, Kayla. What was it like to go up against Vanessa in that sprint at the end of Alien Sea?
Oh my gosh, my legs were just like, okay, Kayla, one more lap. But no, Vanessa had her power. It was making me nervous, but was able to catch her wheel and then work together a little bit, and then pull off at the end, and then have that sprint to solidify the position. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling it right now.
I mean, that's always, you celebrated every single race where you were up there in top 2. Now you got the win, Kayla. Looking forward to the bracketed session starting next week. Just like Tim, you are set to be one of the favorites. How are you going to cope with that pressure of racing for the extra money next week and forward?
Yeah, oh my gosh, the the prize amount is just way up there. So gonna have to be putting in my practice in and just really studying the tracks, because you can be familiar with the track, but I mean, just like this one with weight lifted, you throw in something completely different, just a tactic with a power up, and it changes the race entirely. So gonna have to be smart, gonna have to be bringing my A game with both my physical ability and my mental ability. So it's gonna be some great racing, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for racing in today and broadcasting and putting out all the effort. Moti in second place. I can't help but feel for you, because not only did you have a crash once where it was just a matter of seconds, you had it twice. I mean, what's it like to be in that position? And I think it's less than a second between being in the position to have a chance of winning and finding yourself on the deck.
Oh, it's tough, but I deserved it. What was happening was, because of my fatigue and how much effort I put in earlier events, ways that I would normally respond with my legs to moves and attacks from other racers, I couldn't. So I was trying to do it with gameplay, and that's a much higher risk move. And when we're so close on the scoreboard, I had to try to stay with Kayla there, and I didn't have the legs to do it, so I tried to use the keys to do it, and 9 out of 10 times, that's probably not going to work. It goes in favor of the person with the legs, and she clearly had it, and she deserved the win. So no excuses. I was trying with the tools that I had left, but I had used up most of my toolkit in the races before, and that's how it goes. She deserved the win. It was really fun, really tough.
This morning, Moti, you had pancakes as a recovery food. What's on the menu following these two tough zones?
Well, I'm going to go for a swim in that water on Echelon. It looks a little bit more inviting than the toxic sludge beneath us right here on Alien Sea, but got to do something to refresh the body after these tough races. I mean, it's not a lot of kilometers, but it's a lot. It's a few kilometers really quickly. So the power is all over the place. The normalized power for these events, when we're putting it all out on the climbs to get an advantage and then recovering during the descents, it's crazy. It's high intensity interval training hidden in the form of a race. So I can't wait to go look at my stats. Probably some more fitness breakthroughs from this event. It's the best kind of training. I mean, I've been in Omniums for 3 hours today, and if there was another one right now, I would do it. It's just that much fun. I would lose, but I would do it.
That is the spirit, Moti. It's always a pleasure having you on the stream. Enjoy your swim on Echelon. If you want to join him, that is a track in the game. Let's get the final word of the day from Nigel Doyle. Nigel, we got to see the patented head shake. I love it. I can't wait for that to be a move in the game. Did you have fun racing here today on CVRcade? Oh. We've got the highlights on. I'm not sure if Nigel may just have left, so I'm not sure what is happening here. We'll never ever. Oh, Nigel. The question I asked you before, because we got to see the patented head shake, and I can't wait to see that eventually be a move in the game that you can do. Did you have fun racing today? Because that looked like it was quite an up and down affair in the race for you.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. You do your practice. You do all the practice yesterday on country rally and dust bowl crit, and then it all turns to custard in the race. Just once, one slight mistake, bang, crash. But a lot of fun. Good fun.
That is
racing against Kayla. Yeah.
Well, it's good to always have you here on these Saturdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thank you, Nigel. Now, For the last time in the opening sessions, let's roll all the highlights of the streaming here in the CV Arcade World Cup live on Mixer. If you've enjoyed it, click that follow button down below because we go live every Tuesday, Thursday, and here on your nice Saturdays. But Zone K was first on up, and it was a stacked field. I mean, it was Cognition, CVRcade, Cycling Hub CCC. Jenna Garcia came out to play as that is not fast forwarded. That's not increased in speed. That is actually the cadence being put down in real time. And the name of the game today was abilities. You can take courses and change how they look. Ben Shuilong, he hand-fisted the keyboard, as Matti Pikelny is now coining the term, as he went to try and get the uncrashable. He opted instead for the inertia. And the first crash, which you saw Matti do there, he would then do later on as well. But the name of the game today was abilities. CV Arcade, and especially the CV Arcade World Cup, never gets stale because the organizers, the event creators, every week, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, they say to themselves, how can we change it up? How can we utilize the tools that CV Arcade makes available to increase the enjoyment and the immersiveness and the engagement, as both Tim and Timothy get out their blanket, get out their nice little wooden case, takes out, you know, the rosé and get ready. But that's not going to stop them from eventually enjoying a victory on Country Rally nonetheless. But Ben Shuilong, I think it's the first ever official tie between first and second. Now, this is awaiting further confirmation, of course. This is quote-unquote Jesper math, but I think based on what we saw, it is a tie in the Omnium between Tim and Ben, and that's how close the racing is getting. Everyone getting more and more confident. They've all been in winning positions, and Vanessa, as you saw today in Fantastic Alien Sea, she will start to find herself in more winning positions. She'll get more confident with the corner speeds, with the courses, with the abilities, and everybody has a legitimate chance at winning Omniums, Zones, and the CV Arcade World Cup overall, thanks to physical equalization. Here, you're watching Tim Fulford, Luis Soberanis. They're going toe-to-toe, and they're pushing it. Tim is a juggernaut of CV Arcade racing. He has been in there from the start. Lewis is one of the latecomers, but he's so quick to pick it up. And thanks to physical equalization, it doesn't matter how much you got in the tank, as you see Tim very rarely ever sits up and backs down from a sprint. But Lewis, the Californian bear, putting out the wildfires himself as he wins that stage on Hypnotic Highway. And what really shined through today was the different abilities on different courses. Some riders prefer the longer, more powerful courses, such as Hypnotic Highway. That's where Jennifer Garcia and Luis Soberanis really shined. Then you have the tactical and technical courses. That's where Tim usually shines. Moti Pikelny shines. But Tim, today, just with the addition of Racer's Edge, the game was just changed 360. On its head, upside down. It was time for the Stranger Things theme music. Tim Fulford definitely needing to go over his notes one more time, as Timothy Tumont as well. And the racing has been brilliant here in the CV Arcade World Cup. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate the majority of the racing alongside my co-commentators in Victor Lundqvist, in Beth York, all the streamers coming in. I mean, there's been so many faces on the broadcast, and without them, this racing wouldn't be nearly as enjoyable to commentate and watch, because the anger, the enjoyment, the excitement, Kayla's dances, Moti's applauses, Timothy Tamont's finger wax. I mean, what else do you want to add to it that makes the racing fantastic to watch? Jennifer Garcia here pushing it to the edge, taking risks on Fantastic Alien Sea as Zone K was coming to a completion. It was so close at the top of the racing, but the law of averages, the law of gamification, the more races, the more chances those that are great at the game have a chance of displaying that skill. And that really shined through with the 5 races today compared to the 4 that we normally do. That extra race in there makes it one extra track that you have to be aware of. And what about Vanessa Murhan? I mean, Absolutely fantastic to see her have a breakthrough performance both times today on Fantastic Alien Sea. She really showed the rest that, you know what, I can moderate the chat, I can support the different forums, but when I'm on a bike, you have to watch out because I know how to turn those pedals. And she put the pressure down on a few of the races on the top. So did Rig Woods, but Tim Fulford takes the win on Fantastic Alien Sea, but I think due to bonus points and the tiebreakers that Ben Shuilong wins the Omnium there in Zone K. Zone L was up next, and those that had enough left to do 2 races, this is where Timothy Tamont, Tim Fulford, between them, they decided, you know what, Domino's is having a 2-for-2 Saturday, so we're going to get our large, we're going to get our pepperoni pizzas, and Timothy Tamont, who probably ordered some Kinder Buenos on the side with that. We'll see if that's shown up on the forums after this. But early attacks, Neil Stewart, the cinder block, 2,000 equalized watts. That's not easy to reach to, as Nigel, Moti, Frank, they went head-to-head with Jeff Rooney up there as well. Moti in the post-race interview said, you know what, I'm going to go back there and try and do a physical replay, because how Frank did that, that is perfection. That's what you've got to do. And that's where we're getting to and the CVRcade World Cup. We're getting to a point in the state of perfection. There are so many tracks in the game, and we race them quite often. So if you take part in more than one Omnium a week, you get a chance to fine-tune your skills. And you need that as you race for the $3,000 in the Elite Omnium Series in the Elite Bracket, as Moti makes the same mistake twice there. And that's not what he's happy about. But you need this practice, because if you can eliminate the variance, if you can eliminate the change in variables and make sure to really fine-tune your craft, just like a musician, just like an artist, you got to practice and practice and practice. But there are some things you can't practice. This right here, oh my goodness, Kayla Laguna, go buy a lottery ticket, because the slamming into the back of Nigel Doyle, that just doesn't happen like that very often. And to be in the same lane, for Nigel to be standing still after his crash, just so unfortunate. But that is the game variance in CVRcade. Tim Fulford, listening to his music, Run DMC. You know, you got to do what you got to do to get in the rhythm on courses like a country rally. But we're getting to a point now in the CVRcade history where more races are getting on. We saw Alexander of Russia getting into the racing as well today, just scouting the competition, getting ready for the Elite Bracketed session. It's going to be so intense as we come to the end of the opening session now, and we look forward not only to the conclusion of the CVRcade fall season. There's the CVRcade World Cup winter season. That is rumored to have a prize purse of $100,000. That is 4 times more than the fall season. Now, granted, there are going to be more races in there, so you're going to be on your A game. But if you can recruit them to your team, I mean, the big question on everybody's mind is, who is in Luis Sobranis' inbox right now? Who is on the phone? Who's making the calls to his agent? Because his win on Hypnotic Highway earlier today was groundbreaking. It was a breakthrough performance from him as he beat one of the strongest and cleverest racers in CVRcade racing history, Tim Fulford. He will definitely be having some offers knocking on the door. Moti P. Kelney, how about that race? Riding Frank off his wheel, but he was going to pay for it, as not only were the legs giving out, the mind was giving out. And I love the fact that Moti's like, get me off the screen. Get me off the screen. I don't want, this is embarrassing, Mom. So just like your high school picture, some things you don't want shown on the broadcast. As it was a good finale here. Frank showing a bit of gamesmanship and clever gameplay strategy, understanding that he can take a risk with a path of least resistance, because the road goes right and it goes left. And Dust Bowl, a community created course, always provides for some high intensity racing. The teams are shaping up. They're all, when they come up to bat, more often than not, they actually get on base. And that's what's interesting. A few, they pull their home runs. A few hit the pitcher. Frank was one of them today. But we're going to see as we get into the Elite Bracketed session who is going to get into the World Series finale. As that's where the big bucks are to play for. The grand finale is what's on the horizon for many of these riders. The next focus is qualifying for that one-on-one tournament. How good are you in Omnium Racing? Well, how good are you in knockout tournaments? Hope you've been in the Saturday one-on-one tournaments that somebody was hosting a while back. Some good practice. But Kayla Laguna came out to play. You heard Nigel Doyle say it's always a pleasure racing Kayla Laguna of Team CVRcade. She ended up taking the win, but she was pressed to the edge by her good friend and colleague Vanessa Murahan in the racing today, as the descent here on Fantastic Alien Sea. Timothy Tamont, surprise, as Mutty crashes down, hitting Timothy. Timothy shaking. But in the end, Kayla Laguna will be the one as she just tells her legs one more lap. And that was also all that was left in the racing here today in the CVRcade World Cup Open Session Zone L. If you want to see all the results, you can see them over on the Cycle Data website. Pending bonus points, of course, for streaming. You can see if you qualify for the elite sessions. But there it is, the Nigel Doyle head shake that we've all come to love as the finish between Vanessa and Kayla. That was good. I really, really enjoyed the racing today. And if you did too as well, click that follow button down below. Head over to CVRcade.com. Get involved in the action. It's physically equalized, meaning that anyone can be a star on the broadcast in the racing and compete for that prize purse money. But without further ado, that is all from us right here on CVR World Cup on Mixer. Hope you've enjoyed it. On Tuesday, we're back with a bracketed session, and I think that's going to be fireworks. But until then, we'll see you. But no, Beth, yours goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.